Hi, I'm Shauna J. Cerniak, founder of Every Woman Empowered, and alongside are my co-hosts,
Johnny Gallardo, international artist, and Every Woman Empowered's resident artist.
And Neela Janu, certified laughter yoga instructor, founder of Let's Laugh Yig, and happiness ambassador for Every Woman Empowered.
Welcome to
Chit Chat!
Our special guest for June and for Pride Month is Tan Cornelius, comedian, filmmaker, and strongman. Welcome, Tan, to the show.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to be here.
Show. And to kick off Pride Month, what a better person than you.
Do it. Yeah, me. I'm so well known. Your numbers are only going up from here, ladies.
That's right. All 12 people are going to be like, that's 10.
Yeah. Or my mom will be like, who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tan, I got to ask you, I know as a person that is still trying to learn about the LGBTQ2 plus community, BINGO community, there's so many questions that people have. And what I really want to do is especially for our viewers, is to give them that opportunity to really learn. And that's what I love about these interviews, is that how many people come back and say, you know what, I never knew. Thank you for sharing. And, Tan, thank you so much for opening up to us and sharing your life with us. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I'm gonna kick it out. So you are married.
Yes.
And prior to your transition, you were a lesbian, correct?
Yeah, I don't think I ever used that word,
okay,
but just because it feels very clinical.
Right.
I don't know. But I definitely always identified as queer.
Okay.
And my partner, who I'm now married to, is actually non-binary. So, and on the intersex spectrum. So we've never really been a lesbian couple, even though the world has viewed us as such.
Because you were two females originally. Assigned
female at birth or whatever. There's a lot of nomenclature.
Trying to keep up with it is really, really hard. Yeah. So that's what I have to ask. So you go from what I would assume or assess as two female relationships, or and then going into a transgender, becoming transgender and becoming a male. So I look at like someone, for example, who we know in the acting industry was Ellen Page, who's now Elliot Page, same thing. Yeah. Was married. Everybody identified them as a lesbian couple, and now she is, a male. So do you I'm confused. Okay.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, I am probably an outlier in that. A lot of trans people say that they feel like they were born into the wrong body, or they have a lot of body dysmorphia. I haven't experienced that. I look at it like I'm a 40-year-old woman and an adolescent boy now. So I have, because I have the lived experience as a woman, and now I have the lived experience of an adolescent because I'm growing hair and, my body is changing. But I said to my partner, Cass, I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. There's this FTM, this transition. I'm not going anywhere. I feel like I'm still me. It's just we change as we get older and everything too. And I don't think it seems a lot more drastic on the outside than it is on the inside, if that makes sense.
Do you feel like you're becoming more of who you're supposed to be, who you always thought you should be?
Yeah, like I was telling Shauna before, I've always wanted to have a beard, so that's been very exciting having this come in. But I would have been just as happy probably if I didn't transition as well, if I didn't take testosterone, and there's different levels of transitioning. There's medical and then surgical. I haven't had any surgeries or anything like that. So it's been 2 years of testosterone. And really the deciding factor was that I had and do have severe endometriosis and adenomyosis. So when I tabled it to my gynecologist, if I take testosterone, will it help? And he said yes. So that's what tipped the scale. You know, we had talked about it before, and I was scared to do it because you don't know, I didn't want male pattern baldness. I didn't know, you can't pick and choose what attributes you get. But the fact that it had that there would be any chance that it would lower the pain that I was experiencing every day, it's worth it. So that's really my story. That's why I say I'm probably an outlier to most trans people, but there's also a lot of non-binary people in the trans spectrum that get overlooked, I think.
Right.
Because we want to fit people into neat little boxes, and we don't. We all fall out the ass ends of definitions. There's there's 8 billion ways to be in the world. So,
and thank you for that, because you're right. I was trying, like you and myself, I was trying to place it in that box of, well, what is it? And I think what we just have to realize is that we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And that's really what's important, right? Yeah.
And I can't speak for other people. And so really the advice I give to people is just ask. Most trans people or queer people that I know are more than willing. They're actually relieved when somebody wants to know, instead of somebody, quite frankly, being an asshole. We just had it last week or the week before. We literally got kicked out of a ride share by a transphobic asshole. And then he reported me to the to the ride service. Wow. So it's just, people go out of their way to be hateful. So when people like you ask, it's such a relief. You're like, oh, you actually want to listen and want to learn. That's refreshing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that, because, just taking that time to ask someone how they identify, and how they want to be seen as, I think that's great. And not everybody is in, like you said, that the boxes or the ideas of what we assume that they are in.
Yeah. And then there's the issue of safety too, where now I'm at the point where I have to decide, okay, do I want to change my gender designate on my identification cards? For traveling, say if my partner is Jamaican, so if we want to go visit family there, it will cause us a lot less problems if I just try to pass as a man instead of, so there's that thing too that I think a lot of cis people take for granted, is that a lot of the daily choices that I make revolve around, I don't know why I'm laughing, it's not funny, but will this get me killed, or will this get me harmed? Even what bathroom to use, or how do I, it's a real threat that happens. I haven't walked out of the house once in the last 2 decades without something shitty happening because of that. So it's it's always in the back of your head. As women, you can recognize the threat of a sexual predator is always there. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot to navigate every day.
Yeah.
So that takes up a lot of extra space in your brain that you really shouldn't have to either, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And I'm already an anxious person. So that is just that's a bonus. Yeah. That's one more for the I like that I'm the only one laughing. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh at my suffering. That's how I get by.
I guess, just to be able to just live your life. To
That's
walk out the door and just live your life.
Yeah.
And that's all that community wants, is just to be able to just be who they are.
That's it, And even before I took testosterone, I was walking to the Shoppers at the end of the street, and a man spit on me and called me a faggot. I'm just crossing the street, you know, I've always been very gender ambiguous. So he just, you know, it's just the way that the people, I don't know why they take so much time to throw so much hate at people.
Yes.
It just takes so much of their energy too that I almost feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not like you're hurting them. You know,
right. Yeah.
They're going out of their way.
Yeah.
Yes. You have a picture on your Instagram profile, and it's of you in your first communion dress with your little baby.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, like, I looked at it and I'm like, you don't even look like you should be even wearing any of that.
I know.
It looks so odd. Like, it looks so odd, right? Like,
first, it's creepy because I look like a child bride. Like, and also, I even remember my father telling me when I was young, he passed away when I was 9. So this was when I was very young, and him saying, you should have been born a boy. Because I wanted to be like my brothers and take my shirt off and go around, and I couldn't. And he was just like, you should have been born a boy. But
wow.
Yeah. So even then, I'm like, no one is particularly surprised in my family. I haven't seen any of them yet because of the pandemic, but, you know, nobody is. I've been welcomed with love from with my family. So that's,
huge.
Yeah,
that's really
it's big.
good.
And like my mom, I don't know if you saw the post that when I said something to her about, you know, that Eddie's not the favorite I am. And I sent her a gif of Dwight Schrute, and she just wrote back, is that you? And I'm like, that's all I need. That was the greatest thing I could have asked for. I like teared up. I'm like, so beautiful. And then I wrote back and said, Mom, you know I'm better looking than that, right?
Good response. Yeah. So Tan, I've got, you know, you were talking about your health issues. Did you have any challenges with any of the medical practitioners as you've been, because of your condition and everything else that kind of goes along with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say since the beginning, like I had painful, debilitating periods since they started. And I started at 11, and I didn't get diagnosed until I was 37. So that's 26 years of going. By the time I got diagnosed, I was in like early stage kidney failure and had lost 70 pounds and couldn't eat. I couldn't walk. I had to use a cane to walk. Most of my organs in my pelvis were fused together. And I ended up having a 7-hour surgery, a 6-hour surgery to try and repair some of the damage that had been done over the years. But it's so dismissed with women, pain. You know, they just tell you it's just a period. That's what you're supposed to feel like. Or it's told, you know, it's all in your head. Or because I've had a lot of trauma in my life, they say, oh, trauma will cause extra pain. And it was never examined until, you know. And then even when I would go and get like a transvaginal ultrasound, because of my condition, it's very painful. And the techs were not polite and were not kind. Would ask me if I was a virgin or tell me to relax, or some of them even told me that maybe I should have a glass of wine before I go to get a transvaginal ultrasound. Not helpful. No. So yeah, there's been a lot of, luckily I have a family doctor who is trans at the Sherborne Clinic. Big up to the Sherborne Clinic here. They're amazing. She's been lovely, and my surgeons are lovely. And I am starting at the Women's College Hospital pain clinic here. And so I did have to ask them, after waiting for 3 years to get in, is it okay that I'm a dude now? And they said, that's fine. So that was nice. Yeah. So the core of my team now is lovely, but there definitely has been a lot of nonsense along the way.
We kind of touched on that before, that every day you're facing these incredible hardships being trans and also dealing with this chronic illness. So I'm really curious to know what inspires you.
Well, obviously there's like a lot of good things that inspire me, but the most inspiring thing to me is anger. Honestly, it's anger at the injustice in the world and anger at the shit happens to me, that's happening in the world, and to be able to channel that into something creative that will hopefully help one person. Like I did a show at the Edinburgh Festival years ago, and like lost a ton of money and hardly anybody came. And one young guy came up to me and said, "Thank you for talking about suicide, because my sister tried to kill herself and I didn't know how to talk to her." And that, like, those moments make all the difference. So really, I'd love to say, you know, it's the beautiful things in the world that inspire me, but really it's the awful things that make me want to go out there and make life a little bit fairer and a little more beautiful.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Totally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
didn't mean to bring it down.
I'm just trying to get my head around all of that.
Yeah, my comedy is very light. It's like family friendly. You know, the topics are suicide, you know, domestic violence, mental illness.
You know what? They are all things that need to be discussed.
Yeah.
And, you know, and if we can bring laughter as part of that healing, then why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I always think that, you know, you can talk about anything if you can laugh about it. And if you can make people laugh, it'll make them less uncomfortable. And then you can hit them with I call it the ha ha, where you make them laugh and then think. So it's like, ha ha, good point. And then move on, you know? And it was that way in my family. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Your family's all like that too?
Yeah. So like we had a lot of tragedy when I was growing up. I said my father committed suicide. I had a brother die young. We had a lot of tragedy in a very condensed period of time. And during that time, I actually went mute, selective mutism, I guess they call it, where I was like 9 years old. It just overwhelmed my system. And the first time I spoke in months was I told a joke at the table and it made everybody laugh. And so that has been my tool ever since, is to, when things get rough, I always turn towards comedy. Even when I thought I was dying and I was at the hospital and I honestly thought this is the end. My partner was wheeling me back into emergency and I said, "Wait," and we're passing a mirror. "How do I look?" I just wanted to go out on a laugh. I wanted to make sure that I went out on a laugh.
Wow.
That's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. So, what do you feel is the most misunderstood aspect about being a trans dude?
Just that we're weirdos, or that we're somehow like, I like just these creatures that you can't possibly understand, or we're somehow, or that we even have a total grasp of gender and sexuality and everything. Like, it's still new to me. I don't know a lot of the answers either. I think, you know, a lot of us really are just trying to do the best we can every day and just trying to be happy like everyone else. And it just happens to look a little bit different than from other people.
My friend Louise, when she heard that I was going to be having this interview with you, she wanted me to ask the question, is that how do you know that you aren't making a mistake that can't be reversed? Was there any doubt for yourself as you were going through the transition? Or is this something that you kind of, you know, as you're going, you're, like you said, you've been learning a lot, but was this something that you were totally comfortable with and felt that you wouldn't be looking back on?
No, I was definitely terrified of, you know, making a mistake. Like, what if, and usually it's for vain reasons, because like, what if I look jacked up? Like, what if this is not a good look on me?
Right.
And of course you worry about, is there any health implications and all of those things. But ultimately, once I heard that it could help with the endometriosis, I was all in. I was like, all chips were on the table then, let's do it.
And I can see that after all those years
Yeah.
of suffering,
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you can find it.
Too hard of a decision, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
My next question is a pretty heavy one.
They've all been so light, so.
I know.
You try to keep it fluffy.
So we kind
My
of
sweet spot.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this before, but maybe you can elaborate on it a bit more. Just that we're really at this critical turning point in the movements for members of the BIPOC and LGBTQ2S plus communities, and for women as well, right?
Yeah.
So how do we as individuals create this equitable society for all, where we get out of this damaging pattern of putting people into boxes?
Yeah. Well, I think you said it just there, as we approach each other as individuals, and that, you know, there may be some general truths that we can all, as part of certain groups, but I really think that there's as many people on the planet, that's how many different ways there is to exist. So we really have to take the time, and instead of trying to just throw everybody in one category, is to get to know people on a one-to-one basis. I think that's the only way to do it, because, you know, we need labels, but, you know, because like my partner made a good point one time when they said, you know, if the term non-binary didn't exist, we don't get like looked at. There's no allocation of funds for the health or etc. But then you can get trapped in those labels too. So it is a double-edged sword. So I think labels can be useful, but like you said, nobody fits into a box. Everybody, you know, we spill out the sides, and it's messier than that. I think there should always be an asterisk next to the boxes.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. But as for how we fix it, I have no idea.
Well, I think, like you said, like we just need to look at the human level, that we're all human. Yeah.
Let's start there, and then build upon
that. Like common denominator.
Yeah.
Everybody's breathing.
Yeah, we're all Homo sapiens, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. Looking at us as each person is a unique original.
Yeah.
And just embracing who they are as that person doesn't mean that your story is going to be your transition and why you are who you are is going to be the same as the next person. Everybody goes through their own process of where they get to in life, and they all take their own separate journeys. It's no different than you know, you're doing an outward, but you're also doing an inward journey, and as we're growing, we all take these different paths on how we get there.
Yeah, and it's not always what you think. I always thought that I would have kids, and then I found out that I can't.
Right.
And you know, before I transitioned, so that's something that I had to contend with too. You know, and so it's really life is, you have to improv. It's all everything and nothing. The best laid plans, right?
It's just this whole thing, right? Like here you are wanting to have children, but not being able to have children. So you know, you're grieving with other women that are out there that wanted to be mothers and can't be mothers, but yet you're going through another transition with you know, being as a man. So I mean, there's so many unique factors to you and who you are. How can you just put a stamp on it and say that's what it is, right? Like this is what you are, you know?
Yeah. And then, like I said, I always have to consider the safety factor too, you know, because it's just easier for people to swallow male or female instead of other. Then there's, you know, then that brings questions that you don't want at that time, you know. Not everybody is as lovely as you all are with your questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my next question is a lovely one as well.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so tell us about your animated children's film and this quote you wrote, which I absolutely love. Kindness is love with somewhere to go, and kindness gets you everywhere you know.
Yeah,
That's
it actually it started as a pitch that a friend of mine and I did to a production house on an animated series. Obviously, it didn't get picked up. And so I've kept the script, and now we're thinking about turning it into a graphic novel. And it's about a young girl and her sister who find lost aliens in their backyard, and they have to help them get back home. And in order for them to fill up their spaceship, they have to do like there's different fuel sources that they need, and one of the fuel sources is kindness. So that's one of them. So that's where kindness gets you everywhere, you know. So that's like the final fuel tank that needs to be filled before they can leave.
Love that.
Yeah.
So cute.
I know my partner cries every time. That's why I'm looking over here because I'm seeing this. Like, you've heard it a million times. Why are you still crying?
But it's so profound, and it's so great to get that message to kids at an early age.
Yeah.
And it can carry through the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it really is the most important thing. Like, we talk about love a lot, but love without action is nothing. So like kindness is, and I talk a lot in my show about nice versus kind. You know, nice is like the formal place setting, and kindness is the meal. That's why I say, feed me. Don't, you know, I don't care about the fancy
Niceties.
spoons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Kindness is something different. Kindness will tell you the truth, no matter how hard it is, or, you know, and kindness wants what's best for you. So that's why I think kindness really is love in action.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So what do you believe is your strength or your superpower?
Well, comedy for sure has been what has saved me a lot. Like, it has gotten me into and out of a lot of situations, but it's helped to protect my soul as well. I think just honestly, relentlessness too, is that there's just something in me that refuses to give up. It's like when I started strongmanning, all the guys or girls or thems that do it choose names like Mighty something or Herculean, and I wanted something different. So that's why I went with Tuff Tuck, because I'm like, being strong is good, but being tough is way more important, because life is going to throw so much shit at you that you got to be, you know, you got to be able to handle it. And I think being tough doesn't mean being hard and calloused. It means that you're still able to be vulnerable and kind.
Yes.
So I guess that would be my superpower. Is
that's a pretty dynamic superpower.
Yeah, that's why I say being an asshole, but not being a dick about it.
I'll have to remember that one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Tan, we're already at the end of our interview, and I could just sit here and talk with you forever.
I could talk with you guys all day too.
Yeah, you've just been so great in sharing with us, and if people wanted to come and reach out to you and hear more about your filmmaking, hear more about your comedian shows and where you are doing your strongman, how can people reach out to you and get a hold of you?
Well, right now I'm on Instagram. It's Tuck_Cornelius. And I do have a website, tufftuck.ca or .com that will be coming up shortly. Also, we work out of a studio, a shared space called The Lab. So we're going to have some exciting stuff coming out of there soon. So the website for that is liveatthelab.com. Awesome. So we work with a lot of buskers, and my cousin is a fire breather. He has the world record for eating the most fire torches. So he's a big part of it. Actually, he started it. So yeah, there's a lot of, and hopefully June 16th, my first installment of Tuff Tuck will be up, and we're going to go from there. Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing with us today. Thank you for being who you are, which is a genuine, true person who is sharing so much with us. And I truly appreciate it. Embrace, enjoy the month of June. It's Pride Month. It's all about you. And thank you for
it's Indigenous History Month too, so enjoy it. You too.
Oh yes, yeah.
Enjoy it.
Absolutely, for sure.
And congratulations to you and all your success, and to all of you on your 1-year anniversary.
Thank you very much.
I hope you have continued success.
Thank you.
And I hope to be back again.
Yes. All the best.
Take care. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for being so open.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for laughing.